Let's now take a look at the situation on ground. Overnight, the United States and Israel targeted over 1,000 locations in Iran, but the target is much larger. They actually are attempting to pulverize Iran into submission. But can a regime change happen just by operations from the air? Overnight, multiple missile sites have been taken down, airfields have been taken down, aircraft have been destroyed, missile manufacturing sites have been taken down, command and control structures have been taken down across. We will talk about this in greater detail about what has been taken down. But before that, let's listen in to Israel's ambassador to India, Reuven Azar. He's currently in Jerusalem. When I spoke to him, he gave some details about 2,000 plus sites, 2,000 sites in Iran that need to be taken down about before the next phase of war starts. So Israeli Defense Forces and the Americans are targeting more than 2,500 Iranian sites. The objective is to systematically degrade Iran's offensive and defensive capabilities. The envoy confirmed that Operation Roaring Lion is far from over. How long do you think these operations will continue? What's happening right now? I believe the Israeli forces and the American forces are bombing Tehran, Isfahan, Qum, and other parts of Iran even now. What are you targeting, sir?
Well, as Prime Minister Netanyahu has declared yesterday, we are targeting more than 2,500 military targets, and this operation will continue. It will take time. It doesn't get done in a day or two. It has a potential to continue for weeks.
Is Iran have the wherewithal to strike back for weeks? Are you trying to ensure, as President Trump said, that Iran does not have any navy left, any missiles left, any missile making capabilities left? Or are you going to make it so weak that there will be a revolution from within and this regime is removed? Is that what your end game is, sir?
First of all, we have to see, when you compare this operation to the operation Roaring Lion, to the operation Rising Lion back in April, this operation is with a much wider scope. While the previous one only targeted these two programs that I've told you about, the current operation deals with the entire capability of the Iranian regime when it comes to military, when it comes to Basij and Navy, as you said, and other Air Force bases, etc. So it will be more comprehensive, and it bears the potential to encourage the Iranian people to take action against the regime. And this is certainly what we are hoping for.
That's a very major statement being made by Israel's ambassador to India. There are 2,500 military sites in Iran that America and Israel intend to take down. 2,500. 1,200 bombs have already been fired. 1,200 sites taken down. Now you can only imagine how this operation is intensifying, and this is a systematic operation to degrade the capabilities of Iran. Their military targets are systematically being taken down. So it's a military operation, Sandeep, that's currently being undertaken very systematically, degrade the military capabilities of Iran systematically, bit by bit, from firing to manufacturing.
Absolutely. Gaurav, this is a very, very big revelation from the Israeli ambassador that he told you the 2,500 targets. And I'm just looking at possibly what those targets could be. These would be obviously the targeting, out of the targeting folder of the US and the Israeli Air Forces. And they're looking at basically paralyzing Iran's ability to launch ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and drones. This would be command and control posts, it would be radar sites, it would be ammunition dumps, it would be drone storage sites. We've heard that story about the B-2 bombers that flew in with, guided, laser-guided bombs, the GBU-31s. They were possibly hitting all of these command posts, these weapon storage sites. This is their estimation that if they target simultaneously 2,500 targets inside Iran, it will paralyze Iran's ability to launch these drones and missiles at the region. Now, this is, like I said, it's one of the most unprecedented chapters in the history of warfare, where one nation has managed to target 12 other countries, firing over 1,000 projectiles. Now, this is the US and Israel racing against time to try and prevent these further launches from taking place. And what I can see from the visuals that are being shown right now, Gaurav, is that Iran seems to be expending its low-cost projectiles. It's sending out the cheap drones, the Shahed 136s. It's kept the big ones in storage, the Sejil and the big IRBMs that they have, the ballistic missiles, the hypersonic missiles. Those have been kept for any future contingency. They have started by using all of these things.
That's a very big point you're making, Sandeep. Yes. That's a very big point you're making. So those who think that Iran will fold or Iran would have folded in 24 to 48 hours, so far what Iran has done is used just the very basic low-cost drones, because when you use these low-cost drones, it takes a couple of $100 or $1,000 to make some of these low-cost drones, a couple of $1,000, but then it takes missiles or surface-to-air missiles that cost millions of dollars to neutralize them. And it's only subsequently, Sandeep, that Iran will bring out its long-range ballistic missiles or the IRBMs, intermediate-range ballistic missiles. And that is where the real threat will come, not just for US Navy ships in the region, US assets in the region, but also Tel Aviv and Jerusalem and other places in Israel.
Absolutely, Gaurav. And like I said, this is basically a game of attrition now. What the Iranians are playing on is on magazine depth. They clearly have far more ballistic missiles, cruise missiles and drones than the US and Israel have interceptor missiles. Now, as you mentioned, there is a cost asymmetry over there. A Shahed 136 drone, which the Iranians are, producing like sausages, that costs between $40,000 and $50,000. An Iron Dome interceptor, Gaurav, costs over $100,000. One of those Tamir interceptors costs over $100,000. A Patriot interceptor missile costs you add one more zero to that, costs over $1 million. The THAAD interceptor costs $10 million. That's how the ratio of these missiles are. There is a cost asymmetry over here. Iran is playing that game. It's forcing the allies to expend its interceptors, its Patriots, its THAADs, so that they then strike with the big ones, the IRBMs. That is something, this is the kind of strategy that you're seeing unfold right now. They're forcing Israel, the Gulf countries to expend their interceptors, targeting these cheap drones, and before they come in with the really big worrying weapons, which are the IRBMs that they have, the Khorram Shaher, the Sejil, the hypersonic missiles, which they have kept in reserve. And Gaurav, they've also, spoken about targeting a US carrier strike group, the Abraham Lincoln. This is possibly the first time in history that a Nimitz-class carrier has been targeted by another country. So there, Iran is going all out, Gaurav. They're not taking this lying down. The death of Ayatollah Khamenei, if the United States thought that Iran would fold up after the assassination of Ayatollah Khamenei, the Iranian leadership seems to be in full control of their arsenal, their missiles, their drones, their cruise missiles. They're striking with everything that they have, Gaurav.
And very systematically, following a plan.